Fantasy Island's biggest lies, what you never knew about the show. I always thought Fantasy Island was exactly what it claimed to be. A charming escape, a tropical paradise, a place where dreams came true. Then I started looking behind the cameras, and I realized some of the show's biggest stories weren't on the island at all. There's something strangely comforting about hearing a seaplane approach the dock. Tattoo races to the bell tower. The plane! The plane! Mr. Rourke smiles as another group of guests arrives, believing they're about to experience the vacation of a lifetime. Millions of us believed it too. But here's the funny part. Almost everything that made Fantasy Island feel magical was, in one way or another, an illusion. And honestly, that only makes me appreciate the show even more. Let's start with the biggest surprise. The series itself wasn't supposed to exist. Not really. Aaron Spelling had walked into ABC hoping to sell several completely different television ideas. Every single one was rejected. Imagine spending an entire meeting hearing no over and over again. Eventually, he became frustrated. According to Spelling, he sarcastically blurted out something like, "What do you want? An island where everyone gets to live out their fantasies?" Instead of laughing, the network executive loved it. Just like that, a joke became one of television's biggest hits. I love stories like that because they remind me how unpredictable success really is. Sometimes the thing you almost don't pitch becomes the thing everyone remembers. The idea wasn't even the wholesome fantasy audiences eventually embraced. Early discussions leaned toward a much more adult concept. That obviously wasn't going to fly on primetime network television. So the creators shifted the focus. Instead of wish fulfillment alone, every fantasy would come with a lesson. Guests didn't simply receive what they wanted, they discovered whether they should have wanted it in the first place. That's probably why the series lasted so long. It wasn't really about fantasies, it was about consequences. Now here's something that completely caught me off guard. Ricardo Montalban almost never became Mr. Rourke. ABC wanted someone much bigger. At least on paper, names like Orson Welles and John Huston were discussed. Imagine that for a second. The entire personality of the series could have been completely different. Aaron Spelling quietly pushed back. He believed Montalban had exactly the right combination of elegance, warmth, mystery, and discipline. Looking back now, it's hard to imagine anyone else standing on that dock in the white suit. Sometimes the obvious casting choice only becomes obvious after history has already happened. Speaking of that famous white suit, it looked wonderfully comfortable. It wasn't. Not even close. Wardrobe designed it to stay perfectly crisp during endless filming. The downside? Heavy lining trapped heat all day long. Studio lights, California weather, outdoor scenes. Ricardo Montalban later admitted the suit felt almost unbearable during long shoots. Meanwhile, Mr. Rourke never looked uncomfortable for a second. That's acting. And what about Fantasy Island itself? Well, it didn't actually exist. At least not the way television wanted us to believe. The beautiful Hawaiian aerial shots? Those really came from Kauai. The famous bell tower? That was actually the Queen Anne Cottage at the Los Angeles County Arboretum in California. Many jungle scenes were filmed there too. The elegant interiors, Warner Brothers sound stages. In other words, every episode stitched together pieces from completely different locations until audiences believed they were seeing one enchanted island. It's movie magic in its purest form. Even that unforgettable seaplane had a stranger history than I expected. Long before carrying Fantasy Island guests, the aircraft had already lived several lives. Built in France during the early 1950s, mechanical problems